Alright, now before we get started with the Player Studio viewer, one of the things you're going to want to do is go and launch the Player Studio or the PTS launcher. Now, the reason we want to do this is because what we're going to do is we're going to go to Game Directory and we're going to the Player Studio. We're moving the textures, the new textures, to the old Player Studio viewer. So, once you get to the folder, go to the Player Studio textures here, like you've seen me do, select all of them, like so, and then you're going to copy all those, and you're going to go to the standalone. So for me, I have it in this folder here, Player Studio textures, and you're going to paste your textures right in this folder and replace all the current ones that are here. That way it will be updated and everything will look right. Alright, it is now PSViewer time. So, the file you got from here, it's now time to open this. So, after you have unzipped it, you will have these folders like this. And all you need to do is go into the Player Studio folder and double click on this one, and you will have this pop up. Quick note for those of you wanting this for EverQuest, the way you get to the PSViewer will be by opening your launcher, your EverQuest launcher, something like this, going to your open game directory, something generally like this, like I said, and then going and finding the Player Studio folder. In there you will find down in this something, it should look something like this, and you'll find the same application. It'll look generally the same and will operate generally the same as the PlanetSide 2 version. Once you have this pop up, you come over here to Models. You go down, or you find your file. For me, like I said, it's on my desktop. Double click on that, import it, and then you come down here to Materials. Now for here, if you have used one of these that are on here, then you select it. So for us, for this tutorial, we've used the helmet. If you have created one, if you are doing something like EverQuest, you will have to create your own material. So you'll have to add a custom material and add the normal and metallic map, I believe is what's used on those separately. Or individually. Okay, but for this one, everything's all set up. So what we need to do now is come back up here to the material, or to the model, click on it, and then come down here to material, click on this area here, and select the material you want to apply to it. That will apply it to this model. Now, if you come up here to rendering, I like to set field of view, just backspace, it'll automatically go to 30. I also like to set time of day to 7 o'clock so that the sun will be in a good place. And now you can press the this button right here, and it will zoom into the model. Now, to move around inside the PSViewer, all you need to do is press the Alt button, press and hold the Alt button, and then press and hold your left mouse button and drag your mouse around, and you will be able to move your model around. If you'd like to move the environment around, you press and hold the Control button, and press and hold left mouse button and move your mouse accordingly. If you'd like to move the model around, press and hold the Alt button and your middle mouse button and move the mouse accordingly. And that is how you move around the PSViewer. So, next thing. Everything looks like it's doing okay. Sometimes you may have, if you get some of your UVs too small, some of your UVs on here will not look right, which I can show that in a little bit later here. But for this one, we are going to look at this. Everything looks okay. So now what you need to do is check the tinting preview. This is how you check to see if your where the camos will apply. So everywhere that you have boxes, these little checks, is where the camo will apply. Now, you need to make sure that all of the checks are the proper size and that none of them are stretching too much. So you want them as square as possible. A little bit like this, I don't think is going to hurt too much, but you want to make sure that everything else looks proper. Okay, so that looks good. So we can turn that off. Now, this looks a little flat. So how we change that is by going to the materials right here. Select the material that you have. Scroll down and come to detail strength and change this. So for this one, I'm going to use a 2. Now you press enter and you get the normals map is actually working on this. So you can see that there's some details there, some details here, but this looks too big. So the way you change that is you come over here to detail frequency. For this one, I want to use the highest number, which is 204. You press enter, and there we have it. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. The only problem is right here. As you can see, this material doesn't quite look right. Texturing doesn't quite look right there. Now, how you deal with this is by going to Blender and you apply the mirror modifier. And then, so I should have this open already. Once you have the mirror modifier applied, you will be able to unwrap. As you can see here, only this part is unwrappable. It will mirror all of this, so when you apply it, you will be able to select all the faces here and on this side, and then you simply unwrap those again. Alright, also, if your checks are too small or too large, these checks right here, if one of these are too big or too small or stretched, all you have to do is come over here, select this again, minus those, get rid of those, and then say this part right here was, let me do this again, sorry about that. Alright, so say this part was a bit small. The checks on this one are going to be a bit larger now. So if we export this, this will update live, so you can apply it, export it to the same file that you're using in PSViewer, and the PSViewer will see it live. So now, if you notice, the checks on here, the UVs, are going to be a little bit bigger than on here. That's because the UV island here has been made smaller than the rest of these. So all you have to do on this is just go like that, and as you can see, it's changed back. That's because I already had it the correct size. Now, there will be some instances where, let's see the face, the eyes here. So, let's see, the eye is right here. So, I'm going to shrink that. Now, when we export this, you will see that the eye in the PSViewer is a little bit messed up right here. See, let me turn off tinting preview. Alright, not as much as I was expecting, but you can see that that shows up. Now, the reason for this, right here, I'm going to switch back and show you. The reason for this is because these UV islands are too small and it's messing it up. So you want to make sure that you don't get any of these too small, otherwise it will mess up your texturing. So if you're having a problem with that, just increase the size of it and it should fix it. Okay, so I believe that that is everything. So let's export this again. Back to that. And come back here. Yep, it's all fixed. Okay, so now all you need to do is, before you export it though, well, exporting. So all you need to do for exporting is come up here to this one right here. We'll call it Triad, or actually you put your faction name first is recommended, and then you put the name of your helmet, Triad Ballistic Mask. I'm going to pretend I spelled that right, whether I did or not. and then put the gender. So this one is the male helmet. The reason for this is so that you can remember which one is which when submitting it, which we will get to in another video. Alright, so just select where you want it to go, and I want to go onto my desktop, press save, and you'll get this message. Now, if you go to the desktop, you'll see right there that it is there. Now, something else you're going to want to do is take pictures of this. So the way I do it is I take a picture of the front, this angle, the side, and then the back. This way they can see, the devs will be able to see all sides of the helmet. Also, another thing to do is check the night. Take a picture of what it looks like at night so that you can see the emissives, make sure everything looks right. And then also take a picture with the tinting preview so that the devs know that you've done your work on the, make sure everything is properly sized and that nothing is stretching and that it's, going to be pretty easy to do. Okay, so now that you have that all done, it is now, I believe, time to submit. So, I will see you in the next video.